Peace be unto you, sisters, and thank you so much for joining me in my video on the business of healing. There's a lot of crap going on out there. Of course, we know you've probably heard and or seen some of it, and if you haven't, probably it's better that you haven't. But I wanted to share a little something with you all about the business of healing, and I wanted to share this especially for my fellow healers, my fellow sisters who are just beginning, and some of you who are working some of your kinks out and such. This is what happens when you allow unworthy women to have access to you. First and foremost, I take full responsibility for this. You have to understand, being a priestess, our lessons are so hard. Oh, I had a priestess remind me of that our lessons are so hard as the priestess. And I get why this particular lesson is going to keep damn repeating until it is learned. I recently read a blog by the Muslim Bushido, and she was, she titled it Lessons Repeat Until They're Learned. And she was talking about the sisterhood and talking about how we don't stand at the gate for each other. We don't respect each other's boundaries. We don't respect each other's platforms. You could put a sister on, she put you on, and then she try to act like, I did for you, you didn't do for me. It's just insane, the kind of things that black women do. Black women are very selfish in a bad way. We're not selfish in a way that's healthy. We're not selfish in a way that's affirming. We're not selfish in a way that is going to help you stay focused on your goals and your dreams. No. Black women tend to get to be very selfish in nasty ways, catty ways. There's a very negative spirit of competition among black women. And it's womanhood, period, but I'm talking about us. This is me cleaning up house for us. This business of healing black women and what goes into it. Now, there's quite a few sisters running around saying that the healing treatments are too expensive. With any business, because there is a business side to this, and this is my fault again, because I have been more sisterly focused and not quite so businessy focused. And if I was, this shit wouldn't be going on. So blame me. Point one for Diva, did it to myself. But there are multiple different components to a business. You have your classes, you have your mentorships, you have the spiritual healing treatments, and then we have retreats as well. And the retreats are invitation only, because I cannot have you crazy people showing up, staying in any place with me. I'm sorry, that cannot be happening. You cannot share a roof with me and your nuts. That just cannot be what happens. When I go on retreat, it's a certain amount of sisters. And the clients that I take and reject, I get to choose that too. There are sisters who are mad with me because I rejected them as a client. There are sisters who are upset with me because they said they were going to start with one thing and then they try to change it up. There are sisters who are mad with me because they don't like what their spiritual treatment is. Let me explain something to you. I'm going to put this out there for the public. Most people don't realize this until they've signed up for a consultation. But the spiritual treatment is decided by the person seeking healing. I don't tell you how many treatments you need. You tell me how many treatments you need. I always ask them the same question, and they come up with the answer themselves. They are supposed to be responsible for divining that themselves. So if you don't like what your higher self told you need to do to get right, you don't have a gripe with me. That's what it is. We don't want to honor value. Honey, there's nowhere in this world and nowhere in your life that you are going to have a high return for a little input. If I went and bought 1,000 shares of Amazon stock and held that thing, I would make a very good profit. If I go buy a half a share of Amazon stock, what am I doing? Why even bother? If you're gonna play with it, don't even bother. Either you're investing or you're not investing. Either you're invested in yourself or you're not. And if you're not, then this is not for you. Everybody is not going to be healed. If you want to go ahead around here and be cursed, that's fine. But you're not going to come to me and you tell me you need, let's say, 12 treatments. And you don't like what that cost is going to be. So you then say, what can I get for 5? You disrespectful somebody. Go away. I'm not doing it. Go find somebody who's interested in that. You don't respect yourself. You don't respect your higher self. You don't respect the spirit, and I don't respect you. So I send you on your way. It's not that it's too expensive. It's that you don't see yourself as worthy of that. Even though your higher self told you that's how many treatments you needed. These sisters are being dishonest, but it's to be expected of these women who vibrate on that frequency. Understand, we are not wrestling with flesh nor blood, but with spiritual wickedness in high places and principalities and other stuff. There's some other stuff going on. To those in the know, we already know what's really going on. To everybody else, it's just a fun little fantasy thing. But for those who are serious about the business of healing, understand, and again, I made a mistake. Understand, this is where I made my mistake. My consistent problem, and we talked about this. I did a call, it was a beautiful call. Own your shit. Black Sisterhood Accountability. And when everybody went around on our round table and they shared what it was that they did to the sisterhood that was against the sisterhood, I thought about it and I said, I coddle. And I don't honor my value. And I allow women who are not valuable to have access to me. And that was a problem because my child self has to grow up. My child self doesn't see herself as better than anybody else. My child self sees us all as women in this together. That's the maiden. They're calling me into something greater than even mother, but to crone. And crone is hard because crone demands discipline and consistency. And that's my lesson. It's going to repeat until it is learned. You cannot allow unworthy women to have access. Not even outer court access. You can't. These sick women who like being sick for the victimhood and the likes. These women who are out of pocket. These women who are broke, busted, disgusted. They're always going to do what they do. They're never going to change. Some of them are never going to be healed. Not everybody's going to be saved. I know that. But then I get a little optimistic sometimes. Damn, Diva cares. Diva really cares. I care. I care, Black woman. I care. Too much. And that is my lesson. Really. That's my lesson. I talked about that in my class. The art of no fucks given. It's easy to do it in some arenas. It takes a little bit more work in others. Everything in this world, everything in this life is about levels and worthiness. And at this level that I'm at, these unworthy wenches are not supposed to have access to me. They can't have access to the sisterhood we bring or we build because they are sick and they invent sickness and they spread sickness everywhere that they go. A clean thing cannot touch an unclean thing and remain clean. And an unclean thing cannot touch a clean thing and get clean. This is why we have to keep the sickness from among us. This is why we have to make sure that we value ourselves and that we stand up. This is why we have to do videos and clarify things. You know, healing Black women, science has proven that trauma is passed down in the DNA. And when I'm dealing with a Black woman, I'm dealing with an extreme low self-worth, low self-esteem, mental illness, abuse, rape, abandonment, neglect, lack of father. I was talking to my daddy today, right before we started to do this video, and it helped me understand so much I would probably be, my father wasn't perfect. Let me start there. Back it up. My father was far from perfect. And I'm not saying that to excuse him. I want you to know he was absolutely ridiculous. And for most of my life, I prayed him away. Let me put that on record. I wanted him gone. I used to pray to God that he would not come home. Okay? For real. When he would disappear and have his little days away, I would pray to God that he didn't come home. So I'm going to put that out there. Y'all know how I feel about men. But I was talking to my daddy today. And it reminded me of a conversation I had with a sister. I gotta call this sister. I haven't spoken to her in a while. But I was bitching about my dad and focusing on the negative and stuff. You know, that's just where I was at the time. And she said to me, but don't you see your self-esteem is higher? Your confidence is higher? Your assurance in yourself is higher because you had your dad in your life. That masculine presence matters, and you had that. And that's really the difference between you and some of these other sisters. And as I was talking to my dad today, I thought about that. I thought about the lack of protection that we have collectively. I thought about the ways that we can have protection in our own individual lives, and I really do encourage women to focus more so on that. But in a broad sense, the absentee fatherhood, what that does to a little black girl, that she doesn't see her black daddy. I had that. My father is beautiful, dark-hued man, and I am a deep brown, a little mahogany in the summertime, a little yellow in the winter. Not really yellow, but you know, that yellow-brown. But my father has this deep, dark skin, and I loved the youngest of my sisters the most because she had the same coloring as our father. And that grew for me into kind of almost a possessive protection, want to connect to black women who are dark skinned because I just valued it so much. I would sit out in the sun trying to get darker. I took more after my mom than my dad. Mom's more brown. Dad is that deep, deep southern root black. That beautiful black, baby. Darkness upon the deep black. And I thought about the affirmation that gives. And then I thought about how that's another level of healing and another layer of crap to slough through. Not only in sisterhood, but also in being a healer and dealing with black women. Guys, you've got no authority to fix this. Low self-esteem, low self-worth, mental illness, abuse, rape, genetic trauma. You need the healer. Not everybody's going to be healed, and not everybody's going to come to me, and I'm okay with it. Wherever you find it, the point is, go find it. Don't be more focused on how you don't like my style. Girl, shut your mouth and go get your heel on. Thank you everybody for listening. Sign up details for my mailing list are below. Ashe, Selah, Swaha.